Hello crafty friends, I'm Lien from Studio Kato and I'm so glad you're joining me again today. Today I have a really quick card to share with you guys that is super fun to make and it uses up your negative die cuts, so pieces that you have left over from die cutting. Now this was a rectangle left over from when I die cut one of the scalloped rectangle frames by Pinkfresh Studio, and yesterday in preparation for my live on Crafty Meraki, I also die cut one of the April flower dies by Crafty Meraki out of this. And I made sure it was centered so I could use that piece on a card. And to make this negative die cut shine, I am backing it with a bunch of strips of patterned paper. I'm using the Fresh Florals pad by Craft Sensations, and I chose 5 different papers out of this, and I cut 1-inch strips out of them. And I'm gluing those onto a separate panel so I can prop that up later, and I am using the Barely Art Precision Craft glue to do this. To prop this up onto my card base, I am using a piece of cardboard, which is great for dimension, and it is lighter than stacking several pieces of cardstock together. I can then glue that on top of my card, still using that Barely Art Precision Craft glue, using a whole bunch of it, and that's my background all done. Now there's a nice 1/4-inch margin all the way around that, and I will have the same 1/4-inch margin around this white rectangle as well. And I am backing this with a bunch of pieces of foam tape. I fold my foam tape in half first, so it is 2 layers thick. Then it is really easy to cut, and I just cut that into strips and into tiny pieces to make sure everything is covered, and this will be propped up nicely. Now the hardest part of this was choosing a sentiment, because I have a bunch of these sentiments already made. These are from the Perfect Sentiments Stamp and Die Set by Pinkfresh Studio, and I really like using them because they are quick to use because I have so many of them, but it's always hard to choose which one. Now I wanted to use this Miss You sentiment, sorry, but I didn't like the layout of it. I didn't like that it was on 2 lines, so I just cut it apart and I rounded off the edges so it looked like it was meant to be this way. And I like that layout at least, but then I wanted it there, right in the middle of my flower, or centered on the panel, but I didn't like that white piece that I put there in the floral image. So I took that out as well. There was a lot of changing my mind on this card and I wanted to show you. It's hard to explain, but just know that I never or rarely ever stick with my first idea when card making. So I'm just gluing this on with the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. This is quite a bit stronger than the Barely Art Precision Craft glue. And these sentiments are stacked at least 3 layers of paper thick. So they are quite heavy. And I wanted the glue to definitely hold on to them. And the Barely Art Precision Craft glue probably wouldn't if I didn't wait for it to dry and put something heavy on top of it first. Now I finished that off with some Nuvo drops. These were the Ivory Seashell Nuvo drops. Just put 5 of them on there. And then I also folded a really light blue envelope with the We Are Memory Keepers 123 punch board, and I adhered that together with the Barely Art Precision Craft glue again. Now I had some leftover pieces of these 1-inch strips, and I tore one edge of them, and then I am just gluing them on. I am staggering them a little bit to give them just a tad more interest, and that's it. This is a really simple envelope design. You could also do this with washi tape. You don't need a bunch of patterned paper for this card. You can do this with a bunch of different techniques. But I really like this way of stretching your supplies. Using negative die cuts is a really easy way to stretch your supplies, but also to use up leftover pieces. And I definitely learned this from Carrie from Inkhill Revival. I will leave her channel linked in the description below. She is one of my favorite card makers ever. She has a great YouTube channel, and she shares a lot of techniques on stretching your supplies, but also the ideas behind designing cards. I really like her stuff, and I highly recommend you check her out. Now, I really like how this card turned out, and I hope you like it too. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video and leave your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to read them. You can find all the supplies I used in the description, and I hope you also subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.